Hi Foods 2, Miss Shaneman here. I just wanted to hop on and go over a few things before I forget from the pre-test the other day. Just a few things that I want to make sure we go over because a few people got these questions wrong. So the first one was to never put water on hot grease. So there are a few different choices there for that answer. Just remember, never put water in hot grease. I'll give an example of why somebody might do that. I had a student once making beignets and they thought that putting water in the oil would cool the oil down. That is not true. The water in hot oil or hot grease will just make the grease or oil splatter. So please make sure that you do not ever put water in grease. If there's a grease fire, you can use salt, baking soda, or if it's small enough and you can contain it, put a lid over it. To clean dishes, there were a few options for an answer. Some people said use clean water, which is true. The best answer there though was hot water. To get all of that stuff, all this caked on stuff, you need hot water for that. So even though clean water is true as well, the best answer for that one was hot water. When you cream, so there was some kitchen terminology, which will be more clear as we move on and I start doing some food demos. Cream is when you beat vigorously together a fat and some sugars. So if you've ever made cookies, a great foundation for a cookie is that softened butter and then the sugar, and you beat it. I usually beat it with an electric mixer or your stand-up mixer, and then you end up with this paste consistency. So that's called creaming something. It's the fat, like butter and a sugar. When you toss something, think of like a salad and you've put in some tomatoes and olives and maybe some banana pepper, and you just want to take two maybe wooden spoons and you do like this motion just to toss it together. So you're not trying to crush anything or really mix vigorously, you're just tossing it. Folding in and cutting in. So these commonly get mixed up when we're just doing like a word test. Usually in real life, when we're doing it in a lab, students understand the difference. Folding in is, let's say I have my blueberry muffin batter in here, and now I'm about to add the blueberries. I don't want to mix those blueberries vigorously because I'm going to smush them and smash them, and then I'm not going to have a pretty blueberry in my muffin, right? So folding in is when you take a rubber spatula and you gently and carefully from down, you fold from down under, up and over. So if I had the batter and the blueberries, I just added blueberries, and I'm just trying to gently get those together. So as you can see, I'm making a folding motion here, folding it over. Cutting in, when I cut something in, this is commonly for biscuits or pie crust. So a lot of times you use a pastry blender for that. If you don't have a pastry blender at home, a lot of people use two knives or a fork. But cut in is when you are cutting a fat, like butter or shortening, into flour or some dried ingredients. So if I had my dried ingredients in here, like there's maybe 2 cups of flour in here, let's say, and then I put my butter in there, and then I do this motion. So I'm actually, and if I had a fork, I would be just smashing it. Cutting in, the important thing is that you're having a hard surface, but then with gaps in between. So that's 2 butter knives actually work, and you just hold the butter knives and cut the fat into the flour. But that's what cutting in is. So it's cutting a fat into flour usually, or into some dry ingredients. Saute was another one that was commonly missed on the pre-test. Sauteing is when you just put a little bit of fat or oil, or a fat like oil or butter, into a pan, and then you are either tossing in some vegetables in there for a stir fry. But saute is just a general term for putting a fat in a pan and then tossing some kind of ingredients together in there. The last one that was commonly missed, and I think it's because it was worded weird, it said, what shouldn't you do when somebody's being electrically shocked, getting an electric shock, excuse me. What you shouldn't do is grab the person and remove them. If you grab the person, that electric shock is gonna just transfer right from them into you, and then you'll both be getting an electric shock, because we are made of water, so the electricity conducts through the water in us. So that's what you shouldn't do, is grab somebody. What you should do is try to find the power source and get the power source off. And then once the person is not being shocked anymore and they're clear of it, you check them for, you know, all the vital signs. So those were the ones I wanted to make sure we went over before we move on in our Foods 2 class. So hopefully that helped you, and I hope you all have a great day.